So today I wanted to identify what I have figured out recently are kind of the 3 top reasons that people aren't closing more business. The first reason, and we'll kind of break all these down, but the first reason is you aren't connecting, right? That's a big reason that I'm hearing on phone calls. The second reason is you aren't solving the problems, right? You're trying to sell the insurance. You're not selling what the problems having the insurance, our insurance solves, right? Because I've said in previous trainings, people don't buy the thing or the product, they buy the solution to their problems. And so there's too many people, I think, focused on just very high surface, on more focused on price and kind of just breezing through the script without kind of digging deeper. And the third thing that I'm finding listening to phone calls is we aren't strong enough in our close. And so even though those 3 things could all be individual trainings in and of itself, they really can. We're going to be very broad about them today. And then we can take a deeper dive in each one in future trainings or even on one-on-ones when I get back from vacation, because not everybody is falling short in all 3 categories. But just example, yesterday I was listening to a call and the person was already asking health questions at minute 4 and 5, which is already suicide, right there. You've done nothing to develop any rapport or had enough time to even get to the part where you can ask health questions. And then when he gave price, the first objection was, now I've seen things that say, $9.95 a month, all this, baloney. What's that about? So you guys, you have to remember that if you're afraid of getting objections, or if you don't want to get objections, you need to be the one that says it first. And the whole point of the script, sorry, this is my dog. The whole point of the script is to avoid, right, as many possible objections at the end. So let's break this down real quick. Let's start at the beginning of the script as far as where some people are failing. And this is on establishing a connection. So I'll have anybody volunteer to role play with me, and I will show you exactly what I mean. So who wants to be my guinea pig this morning?
I'll take it.
Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to role play just the very beginning of the script. And we're going to use this as an example of establishing a connection early on. So whenever you're ready.
You want me to just start reading from the script and then try and establish
just how you normally, how you would normally do it when, like, so let's say I'm a transfer.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you just got me, and I'm here waiting for you to talk.
Great. Hi, Dana. How's it going this morning?
That's fine. What's this about again?
Great. Yeah, this is your request for information on the life insurance program for seniors. I'm showing your, I'm sorry, were you inquiring just for yourself, or was it for somebody else today?
It's probably just for me for now.
Just for you. Great. Appreciate that. So I'm showing your date of birth is 9/10/81. Is that correct?
Yes, but remember, you're not going to talk to anyone who's born in 1981. Very rare.
I'm just making it. I'm just trying to get along here.
Yeah.
So great. I do want to start by letting you know that this call may be monitored and recorded. I'm going to quickly verify the rest of your information.
Remember, when you get a transfer, Carlos, they've already verified information, right? So you don't want to bore them with double verifying.
Didn't know that. Okay. That's good to know. All right. So
the first 15 seconds is
Mhm.
critical. And I'm just pointing out, and anybody
Mhm.
that volunteers to participate to role play today, I'm going to pick on you, right?
Mhm.
Because this is to try to help get everybody stronger. So right now, your tone to me is very boring and mundane, and I'm not interested in what you have to say.
Okay.
So I'm going to just have you pause right there, and I'm just going to
Sure.
have someone else volunteer to do exactly what you just did. Who can
Got it.
come into that part with way more energy than what that was? Anyone?
I'll do it.
Angel.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a transfer and you just got me.
Hello, Dana.
Yeah, it's Dana.
Hi, Dana. My name is Angel. How's your day going so far?
It's all right. Can you tell me again what this is about again? Something about insurance?
Yes, of course. We're just following up on your request for our life insurance program that we have for seniors. Okay. And so I'm a licensed professional in your state, and my job is just simply to give you the information. And then what you do from there is completely up to you. Is that fair enough?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I'd just like to ask you a few questions so I can get a better understanding of how it can help you and then what programs might be the best fit. Okay.
Okay. Stop there. So Angel, that was really good. Because that was about the first 15 seconds. What you did is you came in with much higher energy there. You basically were kind of not being salesy and saying, it's just my job to give you the information you requested, and what you do with it is up to you. So that's really good. And then you followed it with, I'm just going to ask you some questions. So that way I can, get a better understanding of what you're looking for, and how I can help. So that is all really, really good. As far as an intro to, as anyone, but even a transfer, that's very similar to how I start in my approach. I'll just say, look, what I need to do is ask you a few questions so that I can get a much better understanding of what it is you're looking for, how I can help, and even make sure that our company is even a good fit for you, right? Because when you start taking things away, people want to try to lean, well, what do you mean this might not be a good fit for me? So that first 15 seconds is crucial on setting the tone for how your call will be moving forward. And then right after you do that, Angel, usually I try to find something that I can establish a connection with, after that, and as far as getting to know them and trying to get them to break down the ice. So someone else, I would like to hear if you think you're struggling in getting through the first 15 seconds. If you want to role play with me, I'll give you some feedback before we move on. Or Carlos, if you'd like to try again.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Great. Hi, Dana. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate you connecting with me today. Now, you're inquiring for yourself today, or is this for anybody else?
It's just for me.
Great. Appreciate that. So now I'm going to ask you a few questions to basically better understand of how I can help you today and what program might be a best fit. How does that sound?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely better. You still sound a
Mhm.
little bit uneasy and unsure. So my recommendation would be to continue to practice that to where it's just rolls off your tongue and just second nature, right? Because people
Right.
don't want to be sold. And so if all we're doing is some initial discovery, we're just going to ask some questions. And then if they come back to you and say, well, I just want to know what the price is, who else on this call has a really great response for that? And then I'll share with you what I would say, which I've shared on previous trainings. So you come back and say, I'm going to ask you a few questions so that I can get a better understanding of what it is you're looking for and how I can help. And they say, I just want the price. Who wants to unmute
I'll go.
and tell me what you'd say? Someone besides
go.
Angel. I want other people to participate, please. No offense, Angel. Nothing but love.
No worries.
Hello.
Who's that? Who said hello?
This is Malik.
Good morning. All right.
morning.
So you've said, I want to ask you a few questions so I can get a better understanding of how I can help you. And they say, I just want your price.
Okay, I typically when they say that to me, because I was struggling with this myself. If they, they just want a price, they don't want to hear any product information. I still try to turn them so that they can hear the product information. So I just pretty much I'll say, okay, great, I understand that you want to hear the price. Life insurance is based off your age, your health, and your lifestyle. So we definitely have to find out what you do qualify for so that the price that I'm giving you is accurate. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. They still want to hear, they don't want to hear the long speech or, the entire program information. So sometimes that works for me and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Who else wants to go? Come on, you guys. We're here to participate in training so you can be stronger.
What about, I've gotten that. I haven't been as successful, but I usually try and tell them like there's a lot of benefits to this program that I think you'll actually like. I want to make sure that you hear them so we can hit you with something that's going to actually work for you today.
That's selling the thing, not the results of what the thing does. So both of those are still very surface up here. We need to engage in a way where you take control and really is foolproof almost every single time. So one more shot. Does anyone else want to give it a go?
I'll give it a go. This is Krisha. Oh,
all right, Krisha. So
okay.
Krisha's new to us. But she's not new to final expense. So let's see what you say.
Okay. So absolutely, I want you to hear the price. That's why we're here, right? That's the end game. But what we'll do here is I'm just going to ask a few questions just to make sure we get it right. So were you looking more for casket or cremation?
So that's great. Look, do you prefer Lucretia or Krisha?
Either.
Either? Okay. So I kind of felt in the first 10 seconds of you talking that it was me talking. That was perfect. So I want everyone else to hear like the tone of how she responded. It wasn't combative. It was absolutely, that's what we're here for. I am 100% going to give you the price. What Lucretia said was different than what I would say, but it was still great. It was, but let's make sure we get it right? Very short and sweet and taking the control back, right? What a lot of people do is they go right into rambling on and on and on about nothing that the customers want to hear, and then we start losing them. So in previous trainings, anytime you get someone who tries to take the control, you always pause, you acknowledge, agree, and respond. So we need to acknowledge, I understand that you want a price. I agree. That is why we are on the phone. And then you can do what Lucretia says, which is, but let's make sure we get it right. In whatever question she asks. You can follow that up with any type of questions. You know me, I like to confuse people on purpose. So I say, it's still high energy, agreeing with them, not getting confrontational, not getting combative is at this point, I'm a little unsure of what I'm giving you a price for. Right? So are you looking for term insurance, whole life insurance, final expense insurance, annuities, universal life? There's probably 6 or 7 different types of life insurance programs out there, and they all have a different price. Did you know that? Follow up by a little question. So we just need to take a quick step back, ask you just a few quick questions to make sure that the price I'm giving you is actually what, is going to benefit your family. Is that fair? And usually they'll, calm down a little bit, realize they have no idea what they're talking about, and allow you to continue. Does anybody want to try that? If you don't try it, you will not say it.
I'll try it if it's okay with you.
Fine.
Okay.
I just want the price. I just want the price, Angel.
Of course, that's why we're here. That's why we're in the first place. You want to get a price. That's the end game, right? But at this point, I really don't know what I'm giving you a price for. Is it term life? Is it whole life? Is it annuities? Is it universal life? Is it an investment insurance policy? There are about 6 or 7 different options, and we want to make sure that you get the right one because they're all different. And I just have a few questions to ask you so that I can make sure that we get it right. Is that fair enough?
Okay, that's fair. All right, that was really good. That was really good. Who wants to try next? Remember, if you don't physically say it, it's going to feel awkward. Just listening to it is not the same. So if you want to get better, you need to participate.
Hey, good morning, guys. I guess I'll go next.
Hey, Dustin.
Uh,
So we're going to start with the beginning. You just got a transfer and you introduce yourself in the, come in with high energy in the 10 to 15 seconds. I'll give you that objection and we'll go from there. It shouldn't take more than 20 seconds.
hello?
Well, you just got a transfer, so you have a warm introduction. So you already know that
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, hi, this is Dustin. I'm the licensed and certified agent of life insurance in your state. And we were just calling regarding your request for information on our life insurance program for seniors. I'm seeing here your date of birth is 4/10/1985. Is that correct?
Just remember, Dustin, with everyone else on this call, when you get a transfer, the transfer agents have already verified information.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, don't waste time double verifying.
Okay. Hi, this is Dustin. I just want to let you know that we are on a monitor and record line. And were you looking for yourself or were you looking for a loved one today?
It's just for me.
Okay, excellent. And do you currently have any type of life insurance covered right now?
No, I don't.
Okay, very good. And what expenses were you looking to cover? Were you looking to cover your burial and traditional expenses like most of my clients, or what did you have in mind?
I really just want a price.
Okay, of course, a lot of people want a price, and I definitely understand that. But what were you actually looking for? There's many types of different life insurance coverage out there. Were you looking for term, whole life, universal life, or what do you have in mind today?
Well, what's the difference?
Okay, excellent. I could definitely let you know. I do have to take a few step back just to get some information because everything's gonna be based on your age, health, and lifestyle. And
Okay, good. So let's pause there. So, what you did was take the control back, right? You disarmed me by me not knowing how to answer that question. So that's a really good way on how to keep that conversation going in the first 15 seconds without product dumping and saying we're the greatest thing since sliced bread and our company is the best and our products and services are why you're going to want to talk to me for the next 35 minutes, right? You got to avoid that. Does anyone else want to try before we move on to the second reason why people aren't selling enough policies?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
Okay, so I just received it.
I just said, I really just want the price.
Okay. Well, perfect. That's exactly why we're here. Now at this point, I really don't know what to quote you because we don't know what you qualify for. It's based off of your age, your health, and your lifestyle. There's many different types of life insurance programs as far as universal, term, whole life. So at this point, we just need to take a step back to see what you actually qualify for, so that way the price would be accurate.
I would personally avoid,
okay,
guys, and anybody can chime in. I would personally avoid saying it depends on your age, health, and lifestyle, because all that's going to do is someone is going to say, well, I'm 74 and I'm healthy.
Right. Yeah, that's happened to me. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So why would you come back with an objection where you're just going to get objections back? Right. You can't be combative. That is a very easy thing for someone to respond to.
Okay.
And now you have to come back with another, response to another objection. So I personally would not say that.
Okay.
So those were two examples of how you can continue moving that conversation. As always, you have to be happy, energetic, absolutely. That is why we're on the phone today. I definitely want to give you that price. But at this point, I'm not really sure what type of insurance I'm giving you a price for. And I need to make sure that I get it right for you. So I just need to ask you a few questions because honestly, Malik, our company might not even be a good fit for you. Right? and say, all right, so
Okay.
first question is, what expenses are you looking to cover with the policy when you pass away, right? And then you just keep going into the discovery and
Okay.
trying to get them to talk to you about, their why. Why are they doing this in the first place? So let's move on. Gosh, and we're already 20 minutes. And I'm just looking at my notes here really quick. So I want you guys to remember, this is a very common theme that I say almost in every single training. Selling the thing you are selling is not going to motivate, inspire, or encourage anybody to buy. You have to sell the results of what that thing will do for them, right? We are problem solvers. We are not product pitchers. And if you cannot help them identify problems that they have that our company will help them solve with our insurance, and you just go right into price, or you just kind of breeze through the script because it's written in front of you and you aren't really engaging their emotional, brain, then it was all for none. It didn't do anything. So we've talked about this on the last training. What are the 3 problems that our script identifies that we help them solve? Number 1.
It's permanent.
It's permanent. And what is the problem? That's the solution. So what's the problem?
Term life. It terminates.
Term life. But the problem goes even deeper than that, right? Because the problem isn't term versus whole life. The problem is that the expectations that they think they can get when they're talking to you is going to be way more coverage for way less money, right? We have to really drill down into how the customer is going to be interpreting this conversation. And we have to stop thinking like an insurance agent and start thinking like a customer, right? So the problem is not permanent. The problem isn't term. The problem is, what are they seeing? And how can we make sure that before we move on to the other problems, that they know without a shadow of a doubt that $20,000 of coverage for $9.99 a month is not real. So who has challenges with this section and wants to role play? Not who's good at it, who has challenges with this section? Everybody's an expert?
I have a question,
Sure.
if you don't mind me asking. When I get through that section, sometimes I just want your thoughts on this. Sometimes I'll say, what are your thoughts on term life? What are your thoughts for this type of plan for yourself, to get them to try to open up about what they think about it? I mean, is that something that I should do? Because I feel like just after that, right, the script says, well, do you have any questions? And most of the time they'll just say, no, I understand. But then when you get to, sometimes I've gotten to the end and they're like, whoa, that's almost so expensive for a little bit coverage. So I don't know if I should expand more on that.
Yeah, and you have to remember too, the reason we have these trainings, and I'm talking to everybody, is because we can't handicap ourselves to the script, right? And we have to be able to internalize the information to a point where we can go straight, left, right. We can go everything in between. We use the script as a guide, right? So that way you don't skip any steps. So that way you're not asking health questions in 4 minutes. You're not skipping past everything that has to be done in order to get to the point where they're telling you, do you need my banking information at the end, right? That's where we all want to get. So yes, Angel, I mean, that's further engaging them into telling you that they don't want term, but it's not just term. I would go even further and say, so, what are your thoughts on, those advertisements that say get 20,000 of coverage for $9.99 a month, right? Term is still thinking like an insurance agent. What I just said is actually painting the picture on what they're seeing is not real. So if you get them to say, well, I guess that's not real, or, thank you for explaining that to me, it's going to be much easier for you to overcome that objection at the end. And I would even take it one step further and say, look, so before we go on, I just want to make sure that we have the right expectations, that we're probably going to have to look at smaller amounts of coverage, because it's really, really important to me that we find something that fits within a comfortable budget for you today, more than anything. Okay. And when you connect with them on that level, they really feel like you get it, right? Like you understand. And even if we go back a little bit in the initial questions that we're asking them, to break through the first 15, 20 seconds and getting into that discovery part, I always say, most of our clients, and we say this in the script, are living on a fixed income. So Angel, I really want you to know it's super important to me that we find something that takes care of, all your final expenses, but that also fits within a comfortable budget for you. Are you living on a fixed income right now? Of course they are. Oh yeah, of course, that's me. Okay, good. Because I know we're not here to try to just add another monthly bill, to your expenses. I know every dollar counts at the end of the month, and this is going to be a struggle. And so I want you to know that I recognize that, and that I'm, not here to add more stress to you, that I'm here to make sure that this makes sense for you and eases the burden on your family, right? Take it, keep peeling those onions, make sure that they know that you care, right? And once you do that and you disarm them, they will be more engaged into everything else that you have to say and the rest of the script. So, so yes, the answer to your original question is yes, you can ask them, but I would ask them in a way that paints the picture, not saying, what are your thoughts on term? Because they really need to remember that it's the coverage for the payment that they can't get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Okay. Does anybody else want to try to pitch me on term versus whole life so you can practice and I can give you feedback? This is your opportunity. I'm out of town next week.
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my dog is in here. Oh, okay. Okay, Dana, the first thing I really wanted you to know is that Lincoln Heritage, we only provide permanent whole life insurance versus term. Now, would you happen to know the difference between the two?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you know that term is.
Nope. What did we talk about on the training a few weeks ago?
I forgot.
Anybody?
Let them say what the differences are, and
How
then
do
you
you
just
do that?
continue with the script. Well, I just out of
No,
curiosity.
wait, hold on. I want Gina to say it. Gina, do you remember?
To pause and let them explain.
Well, what's the question that you ask them?
Oh, do you know the difference between whole life and term?
No, yeah, and I said yes. So then what do you say?
So tell me a little about what you know about term insurance.
Or, yeah, so that's better.
Mhm.
Better, because, and I want to make sure you have that written down, because if you don't, you're going to go back to saying, oh, so you know this, this, and that, and they're going to say, yeah. And then you're going to skip everything.
Mhm.
And all that whole paragraph is missed. There is no problem that you now have an opportunity to solve. So Angel, what were you going to say?
Just out of curiosity, what would you say would be the differences between term and whole life?
Yeah, exactly. All you're going to do is come back to them with the question, because anybody else on this call who has done that and practiced it, how many people actually know the difference?
Very few.
Yeah, little to none.
Pretty much zero.
Right.
I mean, almost zero, because one of them, even if they say, well, one of them only lasts a certain amount of time and one of them lasts forever, does that really do like what we've intended to do during that section?
No.
No.
No. it
Yeah,
doesn't.
and then you just compliment them. Perfect. Yes, you got part of it right. Term only lasts for a small amount of time. Whole life lasts forever, but there's more. Right? And then you keep going on. So keep going, Gina.
Okay. So tell me what you know about term insurance. from your experience?
Tell me what you know about, like, so just out of curiosity, what is the difference between term and whole life? Right? Don't like isolate. Just
Okay.
what are the differences?
So just out of curiosity, what are the differences between the two insurance?
What do you think the differences are?
What do you think? Oh, so that's how you want me. Oh,
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think the differences are between?
Yeah, that's much better. So anyone who when they come back to you and say, yeah, I know the differences, do not make the mistake of saying, okay, giving them one or two blurbs of nothing and then moving on. The next thing we do is provide immediate payout. You've just completely missed your opportunity to squash 20,000 for $9.99. That is a huge mistake a lot of people are making. And sorry, Gina, we didn't really get to role play the whole thing. But I want to make sure that I really touch on that objection is going to be critical for you to be able to overcome. And let me just read what Dustin wrote. After they give me their knowledge on the two and I've explained the difference, I've asked them if they want something they're just going to end up outliving or canceling because it's gotten so expensive. They almost always say no. I mean, yes, that's fine. Just make sure that they tell you that, right? So when they say it, they will then talk themselves out of it. You know, for example, I would say something like, so what good is it going to do if you get, you know, something that starts out at $9.95 and then in 10 years from now, you know, it's too much. You know, what does that look like for you? Right? Try to avoid that yes, no, and try to end it with something that they can communicate back with you in an actual sentence. And that just takes practice. Okay. So again, remember, we have to make sure that they understand that that's a problem. The advertisements that they're seeing are not real, and that by educating them, you become an authority of someone that they can trust. So the beginning is empathizing with them, caring, making sure that you take that control back. We introduce the first problem, solve that problem, and then we move on to introduce problem number 2, which is what?
Immediate payout or the 46 weeks payout.
Sure.
Now I want to hear someone else that hasn't talked yet, how you describe to someone why it's so important to have immediate payout.
I can do
it.
Oh.
Who's
This is
female?
Pratima.
Oh, okay, Pratima, go ahead.
All right, and you want me to like script you, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So Dana, to start, I want to explain why Lincoln Heritage can do something that other insurances cannot, and that is to provide your family with an immediate payout. Have you ever had to plan or pay for a funeral before?
You know, I have not.
Yeah, I mean, I personally have, and let me tell you, it's not a fun process. But you see, when it comes to life insurance, it's a very different process, and it can actually take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to pay out. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. And unfortunately, those funeral industries are not going to give you that kind of time. And we know that. So what we do at Lincoln Heritage is we work to get a unique program called the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society. It's a nonprofit program, and it's designed to get your family paid right away and make sure they are not overcharged and not taken advantage of by the funeral home.
Okay, let's
So-
pause for a second. So the problem that you're having at this point is you didn't dive deep enough into the problem, right?
Okay.
You did not cause any pain for me in that. So I would take it one step further. So you said they take 4 to 6 weeks to pay out, and then now you start talking about the product, right? But you
Mhm.
haven't really kind of identified that they know that it's a problem, right? You didn't ask me any questions. We didn't paint a
Okay.
picture. We didn't give any examples.
So
So, you know,
sorry. So you want me to ask, like, what would it look like if your kids had to pay out for a funeral same day, as in compared and having to wait those 4 6 weeks, something like that?
No, not a question yet, because you really
Okay.
haven't painted the picture. So before I say what I would say, does anybody else have something that they say that they feel, paints a really good picture of what that looks like? No?
Yeah, I have
Yes?
something for you.
Okay, go ahead, Millie.
And this is from the old script.
Okay, that's fine.
So when when I tell them about the 4 to 6 week payout, to paint that picture, I ask them, have you ever had to pay or plan for a funeral? They say yes or no, or they say no to me, and then I'll say, yeah. Usually at that point, there's 3 options that people are usually stuck with: either assigning the the insurance policy over to the funeral home, or you may have to do the GoFundMe page, or you have to come out of your pocket $75 a day, or your family has to come out of pocket $75 a day to keep you in the freezer until they can come up with the money. And then I'll move on from there, and then I'll let them read. Sometimes they react like freezer, and it's all morbid, and like I definitely want to, don't want to deal with that. So that's pretty much what I tell these people to keep it moving.
Okay. Yep. I mean, we did have that on the old script, is kind of painting the picture of what options are left for your family if they don't get paid right away. What I do recently, which I have found really, really works well and helps people engage, is, starting that paragraph off, Pratima, exactly how you said, and then say, but look, here's what happens. When someone passes away and their loved one had life insurance, what's needed, do you think, in order to file a claim with life insurance? And try to let them answer. What do you think is needed? The death certificate, if they don't know, or they'll tell you, doesn't matter. Exactly. And how long do you think it takes the funeral homes to generate a death certificate? Let them answer. This is how I engage with people, right? I'm not just pitching. I'm having a conversation with someone. It can sometimes take a couple of days, but in most cases, Pratima, it can take a couple of weeks. And you cannot file a claim for life insurance until you have the death certificate. So think about this for a second. You've just passed away. The funeral homes won't do anything until they get paid, but your daughter can't file a claim for life insurance until she gets the death certificate from the funeral home, which is going to take 2 weeks. So how exactly is that all going to work? Right? You're asking them questions. So they have to be the ones to come up with the aha moment that it's not going to work at all. The whole reason you're doing this, right, is to make sure your kids don't have to come out of pocket. But where does that leave them if they can't even file a claim for life insurance until they get the death certificate, but the funeral homes won't even start the process of getting the death certificate until they get paid? Right? Do you see how that's really painting a picture?
Yeah, it's making them internalize.
Yeah, and you're asking a lot of questions, and you're getting them to talk and engage with you. So once they realize, they have to realize that there's a problem before you move on, before you start talking about the Guardian Society. And I'm talking to everybody, not just you, right? Then you say, exactly, this is the exact reason why our company makes sure your kids get paid out within 24 to 48 hours of your passing. And here's how we do it. You cannot introduce the solution until you've identified the problem. That is how you strategically sell a solution, not a product. Okay, so that's that one. And everybody really should focus on getting a lot stronger at that part, because now we've already squashed 20,000 for $9.99. Now we've identified something that they didn't even know that they had a problem for. And now we're going to go into the third problem, which I think is a lot easier. A lot of people have a lot easier time going through the overcharging, and taking advantage of. I don't really hear a lot of problems with that. Does anybody have objections to you explaining that people get overcharged or taken advantage of by the funeral homes?
sometimes I get people that say, oh, it's already taken care of.
Right, but remember, this training isn't about those people. This training is about the people that this script does pertain to, and we're leaving money on the table because we're not approaching them in the right way. So in lieu of time, I'm going to skip that part of the script, the FCGS negotiating the pricing. And I'm going to just go into where I think people are the weakest right now. And this is on the close. So I will see people on the phones having 20, 30, 40-minute conversations, you know, having you mentally thinking you've built great rapport, you're laughing, you're engaged, you're talking about how great this is. And then you get to the end and the whole thing falls apart. And the number one thing you guys are not saying is, my recommendation is to. You're giving them pricing and then you're saying, so which one do you want to do? So do you want to try to see if you can get approved? So, you know, do you want to get underwriting on the line and make sure we can do this for you? Those are all roads to failure, all of them. I want you to erase them from your vocabulary. That is not a professional salesperson, and that is not someone that's going to lead them to the path of the next steps. You're just going to schedule a follow-up call and never talk to them again, in most cases. So I want to hear someone give me 3 options and then strongly encourage me on what we're going to be doing next.
Can I try?
Sure.
Okay, I've actually started doing that recently, what you said. That's how I closed my sale yesterday. I just want you to, if I'm doing anything wrong, just let me know. So I have 3 options here that I think are a good fit for you based on everything that we talked about today. Okay, so I have $10,000 in coverage for $50 a month. I have $15,000 in coverage for $100 a month, and I have $20,000 in coverage for $150 a month. Now, what I recommend is, because you wanted to do a cremation, that you would probably go with the $10,000 or $15,000, just because we can get the cost of your funeral so low and your family will be able to stay with most of that money. Now, that way you keep your costs low. You told me you was living on a fixed income and you can only afford about $50 to $100. So I would say either of those choices will be best for you. Now, which one would you like to go with?
Okay, that's good. I would say that's probably like 75% there. Sometimes it can get a little long-winded and you can make that a little bit more concise. And I'll give my examples in a second. I want to see if anybody else wants to try. This is your opportunity to practice, guys.
I'll do it.
Okay.
All right, so Dana, based on everything that you've told me today, my recommendation for you is to get you the $10,000, which falls in line with the budget that you told me about. This falls in line with that. And also, let me restate that it also gets some money back in the pocket of your loved ones like you wanted. And most importantly, that you're not worried about payment being delayed and the payment comes in right away like we talked about. So my recommendation is to actually go with the 10,000, not the 15 or the 30 based on the budget that you were falling into.
Now, are you waiting for me to respond to that, or what do you say?
What would you like to go with today? Or how does, you know,
Okay.
or I'd say, since I already basically like honed it in, I would say, well, how does that sound?
What would be a better way to end? If you're going to do all the work and say, my recommendation is this, there's only one thing that I would say after you've explained why that's your recommendation. Does anybody know what that would be?
Are you saying as a final expense expert,
No,
This is why I'm no. Okay.
it's a very short question. So you're saying, I'm going to paint the picture and then I want someone to unmute and tell me what the next appropriate thing to say is. So based on everything we've talked about today, Carlos, remember, I'm always using their names. I haven't heard anybody try to use my name during a pitch. That's really powerful. So Carlos, based on everything we've talked about today, you know, my recommendation is for you to is for us to apply to make sure you can get approved for the 5,000 of coverage, because I really think that's going to take care of everything that your family's going to need. Plus it's going to fit within a comfortable budget for you. Next sentence is what? It's a closing sentence, guys. It's a closing sentence. What's that, Dustin?
Would you like me to pull up the application?
No, that's asking permission, which is suicide. Nope.
Okay, I can pull up the application now.
Nope.
No.
What is something you can ask about the application?
Who do you want as your beneficiary?
When would you like
Yes.
the start date to be?
No, Tim.
Oh,
Yes. So based on everything we've talked about today, my recommendation is for us to apply for the $5,000 policy to make sure we can get approved. The reason I think this is a good one is because A, it's going to take care of all the final expenses we've talked about today, plus it's going to fit within a really comfortable budget for you. You know, do you agree with that? First, you could say that. Yes, I think that's a good idea. And you can always go up if you need to in the future, right? Very casual. We can always go up. Let's say, okay, yeah, we can always go up. Perfect. What's the name of your primary beneficiary? Don't talk yourself out of the sale. You keep asking questions to get through the application, and you just keep going until you get an objection. Don't ask permission. Don't ask them if it's okay to do an application. Don't say, so I can, you know, start doing this if it's okay with you. Guys, no. You're going to lose so much business if you do that. This is where you need to be stronger than ever. You have got to lead them to the path of applying, not ask for permission. Of course, they're going to say no. Of course, they're going to want to take the time to think about that. And you have to know that's the case. So you have to get stronger. So someone else, try. Someone else that is weak here, I want you to try. I cannot care more about your success than you do.
Then I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I just want your thoughts on this. When I give them the prices, when I'm at the very end, you know, 10, 15, 20, what I'll ask them, I'll ask them if they, excuse me, if they want to look at higher or lower options.
You can do that. You can do that. But Malik, what I would really focus on is before you even give them the pricing,
Okay.
let's pretend they want 20,000 and
Okay.
you know 20,000 is going to be 200 a month.
Right.
I personally don't quote anybody any pricing over $100 a month when I first give somebody quotes, ever. I'll say, look, we've already talked about the fact that you're living on a fixed income. Most of the people that I work with find it comfortable to have payments less than $100 a month. So what I'm going to do is give you 3 options that I think are a good fit for you based on everything we've talked about today. And if you want me to go higher, I can, but I'm going to start here because of my experience, and I don't want to give you payments that might be, you know, unaffordable. Okay. They have no idea what you're about to say. So you cannot, if you give them sticker shock, you start telling them something's 200 a month, even if you started at 10 for 75, 15 for 150, and 20 for 200, all they're going to hear is 200. And they're immediately walls up. Right? You
Yeah,
can
you're right.
always go higher. You can always go higher. So always start low. Always start low whenever possible, because you can always go up. Right? That also reconfirms to them that you care about them, that you're not trying to just try to shove $200 a month down their throat. Right?
Okay. Right.
So you can still do that, but I think that people, when they get to the quoting part, you forget that we're actually trying to give them recommendations that not only take care of what they talked to us about today, but that actually they can afford. And they don't know how much it costs for whole life insurance most of the time. So we want to make sure that we are conscious of that. Because a lot of times people don't end up getting how much coverage that they thought they could get. And so our job is to make sure that we stay control, we show empathy, we solve problems, and we get to the end. We give them prices that are affordable for 99% of the people that we're on the phones with. And if they want to go higher, guess what? We can go higher. It's way worse to try to have to go down. So closing sentence, my recommendation, who wants to try, and then we're going to get on the phones.
Do you mind doing it again?
Sure. And this will also be recorded, you guys, and posted, so you'll be able to rewatch it. Okay, so Pratima, I'm going to give you 3 options that I think are a good fit for you today. Most of the people that I work with feel really comfortable with a payment less than $100. So the 3 options I give you, they may not be as much as you want to get. You just let me know if you want me to go higher, okay? Okay, so I'm going to start with a $3,000 policy for $33 a month. A $5,000 policy is $50 a month, and an $8,000 policy is $79 a month. Now, which one of those do you think fits best within your budget, or do you want to look at higher options? So this is where I'll start, kind of what Malik said. You just say anything back that you want to me.
5,000.
The 5,000? Okay, so what's the name of your primary beneficiary? I mean, you pick an option. I'm done.
Okay. So
right? You don't keep talking.
Really I gotcha. Okay, so I'm not really sure.
Okay, so Pratima, my recommendation is to apply for the $5,000 policy at the, 50, 40, whatever I said, $50 a month. We'll make sure that you're approved. Now, do you think you need a couple of days or a couple of weeks to make sure this is a good fit?
A couple of days.
Okay, perfect. So let's apply for the 5,000. We'll have the start date be next Friday. What's the name of your primary beneficiary?
Okay, perfect. That makes sense.
Very short and sweet, in control the entire time. Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to ask? Again, we went way over the time. It just happens.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Yes, go ahead.
But whoever went first, Lucretia.
No, go ahead, Eva. Go ahead.
Excuse me. So sometimes, like, you'll give them a comfortable budget monthly, but then, it's kind of low on their end. They're like, okay, well, how much is it for 10,000?
Mm-hmm. That's good though. Those are good questions. That's a good sign.
Okay.
That means they're engaged.
So if you give them a higher price and they're like, well, the 10,000 is too much. And so do you just then do that? Like, okay, well, I recommend at least getting this amount because it'll still cover what you want. And
Yeah,
you kind of go that route.
Yeah, you're going to have to remind them. You're going to have to bring back now everything that you've talked about to remind them that this 8,000 is still going to take care of everything that they need because of X, Y, and Z. And still remind now, remember, your family's not going to have to wait to get this money. They're going to get it right away. And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is make sure that your family is taken care of. And this is going to take care of your family, Angel. So who are we listing as your primary beneficiary? Right? I mean, it's the same thing every time in different flavors.
Assuming the sale.
Yeah.
Do you mind me asking how many times you do a call close? Like how persistent are you?
A one call close?
No. How many times are you like going back and going over the objections and like on, you know what I mean? Like how often, if they keep coming back with objections, how far are you going?
I'm going until they hang up on me.
Okay.
If I don't close them on that call, I'm not going to close them. I will never talk to them again. That's what I tell myself.
Okay.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
if
Dana.
if you end that call on good terms, you've done yourself a disservice, really. If you didn't push hard enough or inspire them enough to get them to apply, even though it's not costing them anything today, it means that the work that you did in that last 30 minutes was for nothing. You just wasted all your time, right? Plus, you'll get a lot less objections if you actually solved problems, right? That's the most important part. And I think Lucretia had a question before whoever just talked was going to say something.
No, I want to jump off here, but I did want to say a couple things. One, if you go to funeralcompanion.com, the cost of keeping someone in a freezer is $810. So if they can afford that to keep them in a freezer for a couple weeks while another company waits a couple weeks to pay out the claim, then there you go. And then and especially when you're quoting them only 50 or 60 bucks, like they can't afford not to pay 50 or 60 bucks because 810 is the number. Because after the first 3 days, it's not included in the funeral package. So don't say 75 anymore, whoever I heard say that, because it's between 200 and 500, but Funeral Companion says it's jumped to $810 a day. So just so you have that in your arsenal, a day.
Okay.
So and you can check me, you can fact check me on that.
That's fine.
And I did that just so in case you guys did. The other couple things too, I know I'm new to this, and so I have to earn my keep. But I do want to say also that always get on the call with expectation. I always liken it into a dog. A dog always expects a treat at a certain time of day. They always expect to be fed in the morning and the evening. So, and that's what my dog's like. So always get on the phone. I'm not saying we're dogs, but go on it with expectation that you are going to sell it. And I think that mentality kind of changes the whole thing. So I never get on a call thinking that I'm not going to sell this person today because they're poor, that they're on a fixed income. So that mentality, based on everything that Dana's saying today, will change your whole game. And also just close with confidence. That's my last thing. Just close with confidence. They don't really know you're closing because you've had a conversation. So it's just the next thing, right? It's just the next thing that you're doing to make sure that you solve the problem that we've presented and that we've solved, and all that in the phone calls. So I just say have the mentality, expectation, and close with confidence. And, as I get more calls, you guys can listen to me through the months and years, but I just want to let you know that that's how I do it. So you'll hear that's how I do it. So I have to jump off though, because I have to make some money. I'm poor.
Go.
Okay.
Thanks, Lucretia.
All right. Bye.
Bye. That was really great, you guys. So Lucretia has been selling final expense for a really long time, and she just got on our team. She's been trying to get on our team for a while, but we just opened up, I guess, the ability for her to come where she lives. So anybody have any last minute thoughts or questions? Don't make the mistake of asking health questions in 4 minutes. You won't sell them. And I hear it every single day, every day.
I have one final question, Dana. So
yes.
Yesterday I had a caller saying, I told him that this is the price, it falls within his budget. And then he said, well, $3,000, that doesn't even cover, I could save that up within a few years. Why would I pay, for 3,000 worth of coverage? And I know that at one of our last previous calls training, you said, well, let them know, like, well, have you actually started that? I mean, is that the right approach to say, well, based on you calling us, I don't honestly feel like
you don't make it combative about them.
Okay.
Most people that inquire about this, haven't done that, which is why they're inquiring today. You make it about other people, right? Because well, then why haven't you done it? Right? That's that's the easiest way for them to hang up on you. Additionally, if you're worried about getting those objections, you need to address it head on. So there's a couple of benefits for having life insurance that have nothing to do with the size of the policy. And even if someone saves it themselves, like, you can address this stuff before you give pricing. You can say, a lot of times people I talk to think it might be a better idea just to save it themselves, right? But let me tell you the problem with that. And so, right, you can do that. There's a couple problems. The first problem is your family won't have access to that money right away, right? From your bank or from an estate. There's going to be some red tape that's going to be involved before they actually have access to that money. But number two, creditors, banks, I'm not creditors, hospitals, and nursing homes. You know, if there's any debt when you pass away, legally, they cannot come after life insurance money. That money 100% goes to your beneficiary. It's protected. So let's pretend, you know, you were in a nursing home in the last few months of your life and there was a $10,000 bill and you just saved the money yourself. Guess who's going after that money? You know, and this is before you get the objection. You're just painting the picture about why having life insurance is a good idea. Instead, now you've protected your kids by having even a $3,000 or a $5,000 policy because nobody can take that away from them. It's going to go to them within 24 to 48 hours and it is tax-free. Right? So you're just kind of painting the benefits of having life insurance, not the amount.
Thank you.
And a lot of this comes from experience and practice and attending these training calls so you can hear other things that I'm using or that people are using to try to address objections head on. So we're going to end it. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate every single one of you. And I just encourage you to really try to use what we teach today, not just come on here because you are tired, right? I care about your success. I care about the success of this team, and I want everybody on here to make money for themselves. So let's go have a great day, and I'll be available if you have any questions.